What's up, Black Comic Lord fam? It's your boy Paul with another dope Black comic creator interview series. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're here to talk about a character that, quite frankly, I shouldn't have to introduce. This is a character I've talked about for a while, Mr. Terrific. In my opinion, Mr. Terrific should be an A1 character at this point. There is no reason Mr. Terrific shouldn't be a household name. And hopefully, with the upcoming Superman movie, he will be. But this is a character who has had his own comic, his own series. He's been in cartoons. He's been on television. He's had merch. He's had action figures at this point. And now he's going to be on the big screen. That should complete the trifecta of categories and criteria to make him a Class A character. So I'm really looking forward to what this series, Mr. Terrific Year One, will have on him. So without further ado, I want to introduce the team bringing him to all of our Wednesday New Comic Book Day experience. Writer, Mr. Al Letson. Artist, Edwin Galmon. And artist, Valentine Landro. What's up, gentlemen?
Hello, hello.
Appreciate you all spending your time with us. Thank you. Hi. All right, so I'm going to jump into it because we have a lot of material to go through. Our producer, Dr. Wizard, if you would bring up our stuff for us. All right, let's talk about who this cat is. Mr. Terrific. Al, you're the writer, so I'm going to lean heavily on you. Who is Mr. Terrific? What's his power set? Why should we care?
So Mr. Terrific is Michael Holt. His power set is in his mind. Like the first thing, I think one of the first panels on the issue 1 that Edwin drew is that he talks about, like, his superpowers is mine. For many, many, many years, he's been thought of as the third smartest man in the DC universe. I reject that. I wholeheartedly reject it because I think, we don't go around saying that, like, well, Superman is the second strongest superhero, like, or Mr. Fantastic is the second most stretchy man in the Marvel universe. It's just silly to me. For me, it's like, he is one of the smartest people in the DCU, and I would argue that I think he's the smartest. And the way I write him and the way the story lays out is that he's the smartest man in the DCU. And in issue 2, we talk about who he thinks number 1 and 2 is. So you have to get that and read it. But yeah, I mean, he's the smartest man, and he builds technology. And he's the story that all of us are creating is the story about how do you go from being the smartest man in the world to becoming a superhero. And so that's what the whole story is about. How do you go from, just being smart, and what motivates you to put on a costume and go out and fight with the big boys. So that's the whole idea.
So let's talk about that motivation. He debuted in the Spectre Spectre issue number 54. I think it was in 1996. I might have that wrong, but I think it's about 1996 that came out. Interesting story. The Spectre finds Michael Holt, who's despondent after his wife and child have died, and says, "Hey, he's damn near suicidal. He's like, I don't care if I live or die." And the Spectre reaches him and says, "You remind me of another guy I knew from back in the day. He was a member of the Justice Society of America. He was a hero, very much like you, was the smartest man in his day, and trained his body to be, in peak shape, and went out and was a hero. And he wore a sign that said fair play." The interesting thing, there's a couple lines here I thought that really helped define the character. He says, "No one can ever be replaced, not your wife, not Terry Sloan, the name of the prior Mr. Terrific, but their passing leaves a void that needs to be filled. Mr. Terrific served a purpose, and that purpose isn't filled by Superman or Batman or even the Spectre. He worked at the street level. He reached kids who might otherwise have gone bad. He replaced gangster role models with one that stressed fair play. There is a need for that kind of hero today. Get me? Maybe if you fill a void that's out there, you can ease the one that's inside of you. What's your take on this as the definition as to who Mr. Terrific is?
I mean, I think that that is a good take, but I would say that like part of like the job of kind of updating Mr. Terrific is not just updating the time because this was written like in this issue, like Mr. Terrific is about to get jumped by a bunch of black kids, right? Like I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
There was it was a little problematic.
It's a little problematic. There's things, right? I mean, look, it's comic books from the 80s and 90s. It's a thing. So it wasn't just about like updating that, but it was also like updating the fact that like Mr. Terrific is no longer just a street level hero. I think that you'll see in our book that there's a lot of street level stuff in it, but like specifically like, and I'll let Valentine really talk about it because this really his lane. But like in Valentine's part of the story, a lot of it is very street level. But in Edwin's part of the story, and I'll let Edwin dive into this, it's more of a cosmic level, right? And so I think that like that definition of Mr. Terrific speaks to like him being a street guy, whereas like I think what we're trying to do is define him as an all-purpose. He's the smartest man in the world, so he can fit in on the street level stuff, but he can also, dark side comes knocking, Mr. Terrific's got a plan. And so we just expanded the idea of who he is, but he is all about fair play, and he wants everybody to get a fair shake and all of that.
And then he had his own separate series back when the New 52 started in 2011, written by Eric Wallace. It was an interesting take on the character. Really did more of a deep dive as to who he is and what his abilities are. And I really loved the series because you saw things that you hadn't previously really seen expounded upon. He took his T-spears and was able to make gravity wells. The way he used those T-spears and his brilliance in creating them and having him work on an international stage, in fact, and even an interdimensional stage, shows that he was exactly what you just said. He's definitely not simply a street level character. He's a A-list character as anyone else. They kind of changed his origin a bit in that story. You still have the story. You still have the idea that his wife and child had died in a car accident. But his inspiration to become a hero did not come from the Spectre. It came from his son actually surviving the car crash and coming back in time from an alternate timeline and inspiring him to become a hero. Is that going to play any part in your storyline that you plan on doing? Because as an aside, that son actually came back. Here's a cover of Flash 79 drawn by some guy. It looks all right. It's okay. It's okay. Looking.
It's just all right.
Edwin Galmon drew the cover for Flash 799. And in that story, we had the introduction, we had the revelation, I should say, that his son actually did not die. And it was actually taken from the womb by Granny Goodness and raised by her to be some type of hero or assassin. You can't really figure it out. So is this going to play a part at all in your storyline?
So that question is multi-layered, right? I'll say with the New 52 stuff, the New 52 stuff is always tricky when it comes to continuity, right? Because New 52 kind of created its own continuity and then they kind of let that go. And so, so I think that there are a lot of concepts in the New 52 stuff that I'm definitely grabbing on. And we tried to give it like, in the first 3 pages of issue 1, Edwin has basically like one of his adventures from the New 52. So like in a panel, you see like one of the adventures that he went on. So we kind of like nod to it, but it's not really the thing that we are focusing on. Like we're going all the way back to the Spectre story and really kind of updating it. And as far as his son, I will just say two things. One is that when I pitched this to DC, I had no idea about this Flash episode. Now I know it, pretty well. And whether or not that'll show up in the series, I don't know. You'll have to stick around and see. I would say that like the thing about that Flash story is that Flash story happens well into Mr. Terrific's career, and we are telling a year one story. But who knows? Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Well, there's one thing possible I want to address, something that you just mentioned. Here's Strange Adventures, really dope story by Tom King, art by Mitch Gerards and Evan Shaner. This is for those of you who are Mr. Terrific fans or just discovering the characters. I highly recommend you pick up this series as well. It's a Black Label series, so it's not part of the normal DC continuity, but it's a really dope story. But one of the things it kind of alludes to is the concept that is he only the third smartest guy? Because he does some things, that kind of gives you pause. And even Batman's like, you're figuring out stuff that I'm not figuring out. How are you doing that?
Yeah. I would say stick around for issue 4. We talk a little bit about that. But, I've been talking too much. I'm going to let Valentine come on and talk about that, because we bonded over Tom King's work with Mr. Terrific in this series.
This is what you're getting paid for. You're supposed to talk more.
What's your
sorry,
take?
Just to pick up. No, this is a great series. So and to also double down and second the endorsement of this series. Everybody should catch it. Mr. Terrific fan and no, it's really good comics. So
yeah, it's a and the characterization of Mr. Terrific for me. I liked Mr. Terrific before, but he did not really stand out to me. And the way Tom King wrote him, suddenly I understood Mr. Terrific. Like, I understood Mr. Terrific enough where I felt like I want to tell a story with this guy. And that's really like, after reading this, like that's where the beginnings of this pitch came from.
Yeah, the irony of him having a son now is that he says it's real in this series.
Yeah,
he never really wanted to be a father. He never thought he would be a father. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
And then there's this girl that he had in this alternate storyline, which, you never see again, but it is.
Yeah.
One last series I thought was worth mentioning that kind of helps define the character. And also, again, pointing out why he is a A-list character. The fact that he's also a leader. He put together his own super team, the Terrifics, which had a great run. Any possibility any of these characters show up in your run as well?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't want to spoil anything. But maybe. There's a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there's several characters that kind of show up. I'm a little bummed out because if you search and you see the covers, they kind of spoil a lot of the special guests that we have showing up. But yes, there's a possibility they could come around. I think that one of the things that I was thinking a lot about is that I just wanted to help cement Mr. Terrific into the pantheon of DC heroes and the DCU, like make him feel like an essential part of it. So if he's an essential part of it, he has to interact with all these people. Like he can't feel like he's spun off into his own world and he's doing his own thing, but that he is a part of the larger world and is connected to it all. And so that's why, we have the characters in there. And also, like I said, when I started working on this, the number one thing for me as the writer of this is that I believe that Mr. Terrific is the smartest man in the DCU. So when he runs into other people, it's an opportunity for us to show off that indeed he is the smartest person in the DCU. And as I think that like as an experienced writer in a lot of different forms, like it's not good storytelling to say like he's the greatest, he's the smartest guy. What's good storytelling is to tell you a story that proves to the reader that he's the smartest guy. And so I think that that's really what I've been working on is like putting Michael in situations where he has to show up and show out.
Yeah, let his actions define him as the smartest guy.
Exactly.
To that point, the last time we've seen Michael Holt was in the DC All In special, which came out of the after effect of the Amanda Waller storyline, and the Justice League trying to pick up the pieces from that. Now, what's interesting is they decided to use this whole Justice League Unlimited concept. Shout out to the great Dwayne McDuffie on that. Kind of an homage to what he did in making one of the best DC cartoons of all time.
Amen.
That they made that into a series. But that's a cartoon that even Mr. Terrific figured prominently in as well in several instances. But I think, yeah, it's still hot to this day. You could watch it right now and still be entertained.
Yep, absolutely.
He's their go-to guy. I mean, look at it. You've got all these heroes gathered around. Who's the one who's addressing them? It's Mr. Terrific. Who's the one that helps to organize and put this technology together? It's Mr. Terrific. When stuff goes down and trying to figure out how are we going to get Darkseid, Superman's not talking to Batman. He's talking to Mr. Terrific. He says, hey, what happens if so-and-so happens? And Mr. Terrific says, I don't know. And Superman goes, you saying that is one of the scariest things I've ever heard. Yeah. Because if Mr. Terrific doesn't know what's going on, you're kind of screwed.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's kind of demonstrating that. So I'm really looking forward to what you guys are going to be doing on this Mr. Terrific Year 1 series. Here's the covers. Valentine, you have the cover A, which is iconic, by the way. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I love this, the second cover, third cover, the Mitch Gerard's cover, which actually is a recreation of the cover from Strange Adventures. Which I thought was cool. And then, of course, the Dennis Cowan cover, which I was very blessed to finally get a copy of this weekend. I was excited about that. They were not easy to find. Let's jump into it. You have two artists in these first couple issues. How did you break up those tasks? How did you guys decide to break up those tasks?
Yeah, I think, actually, like, Valentine and I were talking, and he said that like I was doing two different stories, and I didn't realize it until he said it. But like it is like two really different stories that kind of come together. So like I think when after I pitched it and they accepted it, me and the editors got together, and Andrea Shea, who is an editor at DC, she's brilliant. I love working with her. And she had the idea of one of the things that DC really wanted to do is they wanted to make sure that we were not just telling a straight year one story, but we were telling a story that connected to the present day, and reverberated through to the year one. And so when I knew that was the mandate, I was just thinking about how I connect all the dots. And so Andrea was like, it would be really cool if we had one art style for kind of like the cosmic stuff, the big stuff that you want to do, and then one art style for the more street level, more year one type stuff. And so that's where we started. And actually, like from the start, Valentine and Edwin were my guys, because like I'm a huge fan of both of them. Like, I mean, Bitch Planet was my jam. Like I loved Bitch Planet so much. And then
You
the
tell
stuff
in the
that
comments, people in the chat are like, "Is that the same guy from Bitch Planet?"
yes, it is. It is the monster from Bitch Planet. Like, come on. And then like Edwin, like I got into Edwin's work actually on Instagram. Like someone had posted before Andrea had even mentioned him. Someone posted Edwin. I don't remember what it was, but this is like months before we started doing it, and that's when I started following him and being like, oh man, this dude is just incredible. Like the colors, like and the action, the way he moves your eye around the page, just so yeah. Huge fan of both of them. Literally, like every time I get a book and see what they're doing, it's just I cannot wait for people to see. I think is it Edwin? Is it issue 2 with the elevator shaft? Is that 2?
Yes, yeah, that's issue
Oh
2.
my
Yeah,
God, that elevator shaft shot. Come on. Like that's just
yeah,
ridiculous.
that really played on my strengths because I'm a really heavy inker, and so
Yes.
when you said abandoned building, I was like, oh, I get to play with shadows. So I was like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite
That
like
thing. I
panels.
think
Yeah.
issue 2 might be my favorite issue, but then again, I love them all, but like issue 2, Edwin like and his staircase and shadows just went off, and then Valentine like we had long conversations about like, dude, I want this because this is the issue where the Spectre comes in, and I was like, I don't know, man, but I just feel like the Spectre should be trippy. I feel like it's a great place to highlight that Michael is an atheist and he's talking to the vengeance of God. Like that's just it should be trippy and crazy. And man, like, oh God, the art, Valentine, like, I love all the art, but there's always like one page that I'm just like, ah. And so, like, yeah, yeah, I'm a huge fan of these guys. I'm like, I could nerd out all day on their work.
And I think we here at Black Comic Lords are fans of all of you. You know, Valentine's worked on some books that I really, 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 really loved and promoted hard. Edwin, I've been touting your art since before you blew up, and people are like, I know who Edwin Galmon is. Like, I knew that cat before he blew up. So
It's all an honor.
it's a blessed team to have you guys working on a character of this significance. It's meaningful. It's meaningful to have us working on this particular character, who I consider to be one of DC's best characters, flat out. Notice I didn't say one of DC's best black characters. I think he's one of DC's best characters. Period.
It's because when he shows up, like it makes you stop. Like he has a presence about him. Like when he shows up, it's almost like everything else stops and everything has to pay attention to him. Like when I first started reading Strange Adventures, I didn't expect him to show up until Batman was just like, "You need that guy."
Yep.
And so when he pointed Adam to Mr. Terrific, I was like, "Oh, then I gotta read this then." Like I usually give everything like that one single issue, but
he took over the book. Once he came in, it became a Mr. Terrific book.
This is Mr. Terrific's book right here. Same thing with the other things he's been in. Like there's that 3-part Crisis on Infinite Earths animated movie that came out on Max, and the first 2. It was like, but then the third one came up, and this was for you. I saw like Mr. Terrific shows up in it. And he literally saves the entirety of the movie and the day. So it's just like every time he shows up, I was like, yeah, Mr. Terrific is like he's up there. And then there should be something that should show people that he's up there. So just like repeating what you said, I'm glad that he's getting that big screen showing, and especially this book too. Yeah.
All right. So what was cool about this particular page you did, Edwin, is you basically summarized his entire history on one page. Fluidly. Artfully. That's story. You can almost take the word bubbles out and you still know this is his history.
Absolutely.
from changing you from the initial picture you see at the top where he's got his older costume with the visor that he doesn't wear anymore. My man's got some. He must have a super do-rag because his waves are on point with the Caesar. I mean, only superheroes can get that type of wave pattern with the JSA, and then his time period on Earth 2 where he's fighting monsters, and then you got him with the Terrifics. You summarize his entire history on one page. That's storytelling.
Yeah. The funny thing about the hair is that I really wanted to give him really textured hair. So and that was one of my goals.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, one of the things that like drove me crazy about the new 52 was his hair. Like in the new 52, no disrespect to that artist at all, but like I just felt like, man, they never get his hair right in the new 52.
Never get his hair right.
No. And I kind of like, if I had my druthers after we finished this, we'd move into another story with Mr. Terrific, because I got ideas. I got a story idea for Mr. Terrific that I would, oh my God, it would be so awesome to tell it. And if I got the chance to do that, I'm changing his hair up a little bit. I think I want to go to like the waves. I want to go back to the waves because the waves look great.
I mean, the waves, the Caesar, you might want to add a little fade to it. Give him a fade, a Caesar, and the waves at the same time.
Exactly.
That'd be crazy.
I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to put his buddy Dre in it is because I felt like, this is a book that like, 3 Black men are working on together.
Right.
And I wanted it to be like, to be able to tell the story of 2 Black men being friends and having ups and downs in their relationships and how they talk to each other. And because like how the way we talk to each other is different than the way we talk to the outside world. And so like I wanted to make sure that that Dre and Michael, like that they feel like they're brothers, like they grew up together, and like they have a shorthand together, and they tease each other, but also they hold each other accountable, like all of that stuff. And so I think when I have read Mr. Terrific before in the past, I thought that like, yeah, I love this character, but also like if they turned him into a white guy, like there's nothing about that shines in his culture, right? And so what I really wanted to do is connect those things. Like this is a Black character who has community around him, even if we see in issue 1 that he's disconnected from it, he's still got his boy, and then by the end of this series he's also got another friend that I'll hold that in for right now, but he gets his other boy back. And so like to me that was just all that stuff was important.
Marwan Williams says, not to lay it on too thick, but it's a pleasure to see brothers get recognized for their craft. I love seeing my people prosper, whether it be comic books or anything. Keep rising, gents. I think that's a sentiment all of us here at Black Comic Lords share. We appreciate you guys working on this, and you obviously threw not just your talents in it, but you threw love into this project, and you can see it on every page. So to that point, what you were just talking about, he does have his boy. And now we see that we do the flashback to year 1, and Valentine. This is where you take over with your style, and this is a new character, Dre, right?
Yep.
I love the fact that you introduced him for the reasons that you stated. A lot of times, I think there's a truism when it comes to Mr. Terrific that you don't want him done in a way that if you had made him a white guy, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Right.
And I think it's easy to do that, particularly when you have a character of his background and his power is simply being smart. It's easy to fall into the trap of saying, well, he's smart and he's rich. It's easy to fall into the trap of disconnecting him from his heritage and his Blackness based on that. And you don't do that. And I thought Dre is a perfect literary device to prevent that from happening, because the audience sees how they interact and like, okay, that's his boy.
Yeah, it's his boy. And I would say that like the superpower that like that Mr. Terrific has that I think that maybe like has never been stated is also like he knows how to code switch, and he's code switching at a higher level than any of us have to, because like one, he's code switching like all of us do on the day to day, but then he's going up to the JLA, in the a watchtower, and he's dealing with these characters that have powers of gods, and all he has is his mind. I mean, the ability to like code switch up to their level, but also be able to code switch to Dre, like that's a superpower in itself. Like that's amazing, and I wanted to show that off with him.
Yeah, it's well documented. He speaks many languages, and code switching is one of them.
Exactly.
Shout out to Valentine, man. I'm looking at this second panel here, right? And you can, if you're not paying attention, you could just skip over some of the Easter eggs. You have on the wall his prior visors, it's showing his early iterations of what his look was like, right? And then over here you've got the Team USA basket. That's what it is, right? Team USA basketball poster on the right. Is that what that is?
Decathlon.
Decathlon. Okay, because he's an athlete. All right, so it is being a decathlon, and it's cool seeing he has a workshop that he's working in. He's toiling with a Camaro. I mean, there's just certain things that we sort of recognize with our culture. The brother's got a Camaro. He's like, that's my baby. That's my Edda. What you talking about?
Not only does he have a Camaro, not only this is all Valentine. Not only does he have a Camaro, but it's a T-top.
It's a T-top.
It's a T-top. I just know that detail when he told me, I was like, oh my God, forget it.
Right.
I love those little details, man. All right. So oftentimes when you have these characters that are rich, they always, when they're out being superheroes, someone always comes for the kingdom. Whether you're T'Challa and you actually have a kingdom, whether you're Tony Stark and you've got Stark Industries, or whether you're Oliver Queen and you've got Queen Industries, Bruce Wayne, Wayne Tech, people are always coming for your money. But in his case, he didn't care, because you're dealing with this other sub story where after the death of his wife, he just didn't care anymore. The money wasn't important. The company wasn't important. He wanted to tinker because he's a tinker and he's brilliant and he wants to do stuff with his mind. But, you have a subtext of dealing with depression, grief, things that we don't talk about in our community a lot. Yeah. And he's exemplifying that. And I thought it was cool that his boy is there to like, hey man, I know you're feeling some kind of way. I'm gonna try and get you outside the house, get you a plate of food, whatever it takes. This is a powerful moment that I think really can't be understated. This concept of a black man dealing with, mental distress, and having another black man say, hey, I recognize it. I'm trying to help you out. Yep. That's powerful. That's please talk about that.
It comes from real life circumstances. I mean, before I started working on this, now when I look back at especially at issue 1, all of this is like me kind of working through my own personal grief and my own personal depression. My best friend passed away 2 years ago, and it just devastated me because that was my right hand. Like, we'd been through so many things together in life. Best friend for 30 years, and he cancer took him from me. And for a while, I just couldn't find my rudder. I've always had drive. I've always wanted to do all these different things. And I just couldn't do it. And I had I have 2 best friends, and my other best friend stepped up and was like, yeah, dog, come on. We're going to grieve together, but we also going to move forward because, my friend who died, Ian, he'd be like, Ian doesn't want you to sit in the house and not do your thing. You got to go do your thing. So for me, it was telling that story of loss, but also the brotherhood that brings you back, that helps you get back on your feet. And also I thought that So all of those things were playing into it. The thing that I felt as a storyteller that was missing from the Spectre issue 54. So Spectre issue 54, Michael Holt is, about to commit suicide. The Spectre comes to him and say, "Hey, don't do that. Be a superhero." And Michael says, "Great." And I felt like there's got to be a step in between there. And so for me, it was like, I love the idea that like a character feels some kind of responsibility to the world, some kind of like reason that they put on a costume and go out and try to save the world. And so that's where, the idea of Athena kind of, taking Michael's technology and using it in bad ways feels like, there's a cost for disconnecting from the world. And now like he feels like, damn, I got to do something about it. Like I can't I can't be on the sidelines anymore. I have to be an active participant in the world. And so to me, like that's what I was trying to lace in there. Not just that like, oh, hey, the Spectre says you should be a hero, so I'll go be a hero. It's like, no, he's convicted. He feels like I screwed up. And if my wife was looking down on me right now, she would want me to go fix my mistake.
That's what's up. So you have this storyline where he has sold his company to this dubious person. And she is apparently involved in environmental racism, but I mean,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that's wrong.
I was trying not to go there, but yeah, I mean, if that's because it hasn't been revealed yet. I'm just getting those vibes based on what I see here. But that's what it seems like to me, where a corporation commits acts of environmental harm in areas that don't have the power and resources to complain about it and fight back.
Right. In a lot of ways, like I think when you're talking about something happening in America, it's like near impossible to take race out of it. But I would also say that it's also a function of class too, right?
Right.
That like these powerful individuals and these powerful companies find communities that, just like you said, like they don't have a voice. And so it's easier to do bad things there that could ultimately benefit the rest of the country, or at the very least benefit the shareholders. But you dump the bad stuff on the people who no one will ever hear from. And so that's what we're seeing here. So is it racism? I think that race is always tied up in everything in America.
Yeah.
But I think like it's definitely a function of class.
Shout out to Valentine for putting Michael Holt in slides and socks.
Okay.
Look, my wife makes fun of me when I do that. She's like, "Oh, you're so Miami. You're so Miami when you do that." I was like, "What? This is a normal." She's like, "This is so ghetto. Don't do that." I love that you
give a hat tip to Marissa because she was the one who made his socks two different colors. So
yeah.
I just thought I laughed out loud when I saw that. I'm like, my man's wearing slides and socks. That's
yes,
so me. All right. Again, this is what I was talking about before in terms of him dealing with the void, and this harkens back to what I was talking with the Spectre 54 and that line about filling that void that's within him. That's what Mr. Terrific is about, filling a void within you personally. In what issue can we expect he decides he wants to fill that void with action?
I think issue 3 kind of I would say like the great thing about doing like two different stories at the same time is that like Edwin gets to do a lot of action. Like Edwin's story is very much like an action movie. So we got a lot of action going on in the first 3 pages. I think that when we get into 3, it's when Michael takes some decisive action. And so yeah, we'll definitely see. There's some panels in towards the end of issue 3 that are just just Valentine just did it with the with the action stuff. And then like the 4, I keep, like Edwin, I've been Edwin and Valentine, I've been so locked in on issue 5 that like I really have not been able to look at the art yet for 4. But just I'm just thinking about that one shot, Valentine, that we were talking about, that one page. I can't wait to see how that turned out. Like, I'm just stupid excited.
Yeah, I think Marissa handled that one. She's already finished. But I don't know, one of the two, but that'll be something when she does her thing to it as well.
Yeah, we should really shout out the whole team. Like Marissa
indeed.
Luis is our colorist, and she is amazing. She's so good. And then Lucas Gaton is our letterer, and like it's so interesting to see how much a letterer brings to the project. Like how like literally he feels like the glue. Like he just brings it all together. It's pretty amazing. And then our editors, like
He drew
I
the
just can't
little
say
T
enough.
thing on the captions here,
Yes.
like the T sphere that's on the caption. That's all Lucas.
Yes.
The letter.
Yeah, that's all Lucas. Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah. Lucas is the jam. We it's just the team is stellar.
Brilliant.
Stellar. Yeah, it's solid.
My producer decided to bring up the team. Here's your whole team here.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. Yeah, they're Lucas Catoni is just great. He takes it to another level.
Shout out to Andrea Shea for coming up with the concept of tying it into what's going on in the present. I thought it was a brilliant idea. Shout out to Marquise Draper.
Marquise is the joint.
Andrea
feels like
me.
Yeah. And Andrea feels like the secret sauce because she's the one that kind of works with me on the scripts. And I love working with a hard editor because they bring out the good stuff. Like I turned in episode 5 or issue 5 to her, and I was so like happy with it. And she was like, I got a lot of notes. And so like, we went back to the drawing board. And it's so much better now. Like I'm like, oh damn, like that she just takes it to another level. And nobody will ever see that. Like they'll think that, oh, like Al did a great job on the script, but like really she pushes me to like take it to the next level.
And she did that for the art too. Yeah, like
Yeah.
she bring back the notes. I was like, oh, actually, yeah, that's a way better idea. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me do that.
So we find out Dre is a little bit more than what we anticipated. We thought first when we first meet him that he's a personal trainer. He has a personal trainer business, and he's working with Michael to put together a cool app for his personal training. And then you find out he's actually a bit of a vigilante who's trying to take down Athena, and what she's doing with the environmental disasters that she's doing. Can you tell us what made you go in that direction with this character?
Yeah, so like the background to how like this whole project got started is that I write TV. I'm also a journalist. I host a podcast called Reveal. I saw one of the comments asking if I'm the same person. I am the same person. So I host Reveal. And thank you for the love on the podcast. But I'm also a full-time TV writer. When James Gunn was announced to be taking over the DCEU, I was like, I want to get in. So I wrote a whole pilot for Mr. Terrific as a TV show. I never expected that pilot to get made or picked up. I didn't have, like in TV, you want to have samples of like the kind of work you can do. And I didn't have a sample of a superhero thing. So I wanted to show how I would do a grounded superhero show. And I used Mr. Terrific. And so the Drake storyline in that pilot was a huge part of the pilot. And so when I translated it to the book, his story is still very important and obviously like a driver of the whole thing, but it gets cut down because we only have 20 pages. the full idea is that Dre is a community activist. He's working hard in Gateway City, and he's always wanted Michael to take more, to really dive into being a part of the community. But Michael's head is always in different places with his technology, and then Paula dies, and he completely checks out. And so, I think that like the thing that we weren't able to do in the comic because we just didn't have enough pages is that basically Lex Luthor, and it plays out a little bit throughout it, but you don't see the backstory. Lex Luthor and Mercy Graves kind of undercover went to like basically members of the community and tried to radicalize them against Athena. And that's how all of this got started, because they're trying to radicalize them so that they could go in, steal the technology, and blame it on the protesters or the activists. Which, in my job as a journalist, you see all the time with like people planning, like especially in the Denver during the Black Lives Matter protests, like the feds were like implanting basically bad operatives that they were not supposed to cause violence. They were just supposed to get information, but they were causing violence. So Dre is just, he wants to do the right thing, and he just gets caught up and he does the wrong thing, and he needs Michael to bail him out of it.
In Etta, the supercar. Does Etta have more abilities that we're going to see in the future?
Yes. Yes, but Etta has a lot of, but I guess the reason why I'm hesitating is because like I know all the things that Etta can do, but I'm not sure if we showcase it much beyond episode 1. Maybe, I don't know. I have to think. Yeah, we'll see. Etta's a bad girl, though. Etta's a bad girl.
All right. So you end this issue with bang, figuratively and literally. As I mean, you talk about how Dre's this vigilante and civil disobedience person, and what happens to everybody who tries to do good in the community. They get assassinated. So hell of a way to end this issue, on a cliffhanger, literal cliffhanger. Everyone's excited to see what happens next. And here's issue 2.
Yep. Yeah, issue 2 is a man of science up against the vengeance of God, and how all that shakes out. And you get to learn the history of Michael and Paula. You get to learn the history of Michael and Dre, and how we got to this point. This is I think that like, definitely Valentine brought such drama in the graveyard in issue 1. And I think that like the trippy stuff with the Spectre, the drama comes through again. And it's again, like there are pages in there just so heartbreaking to me.
Is this going to be the definitive origin of Mr. Terrific?
I mean, if you ask me, yes. Like, if you ask the 3 of us, yes.
Yeah,
I didn't know if DC had talked to you and said, "Hey, what you do for this is going to be the." I mean, as definitive an origin as DC can make definitive origins until the crisis event happens.
Right. I think it will be the definitive origin. We have no connection at all to the movie, so I'm not sure what the movie is doing. Although I will say, I think I read somewhere that it talks about Paula dying, and that spurred him into action, which I would say like that could be true, and it still fit with our origin story as well. Because Paula's death does, play a huge factor in all of this. So,
yeah, this cover on the left reminds me of that that song "No Church in a While."
Yeah.
by Jay-Z and Kanye West, where it goes, what's a person to
What's a
a
king?
mob, what's a mob to a king, what's a
What's a
king
king
to a
to a
god,
god?
and what's a
Yeah.
god to a non-believer who doesn't believe in anything.
Right.
I mean, that's what this cover is. You've got an atheist versus a god.
Yeah.
Who wins? It's
You'll have to read.
is that intentional? Did you give input as to that cover, or
I never have like really any connection with whatever covers are going on. The thing is that like I got 3 jobs, and so like for me, like getting the scripts done in a timely fashion to give them to everybody is like the thing that I'm concentrating on. So that's the beautiful thing about not doing a creator owned thing, is that creator owned, you gotta like be on top of it and do everything. And I at this point in my life, I don't have time for that. I got time to like write, but everything else is just a little bit too much. So I don't like do the covers at all. I have no idea what I'm just as surprised as the reader when the covers come out.
it looks
Thank
like
God they're all good. Like, because if they
all your
weren't,
covers are fire. All your covers are
yeah,
fire. Even Kanan White's in the chat talking about, man, that's those dope covers.
yeah,
Kanan White's giving you love. You know it's good.
yes. Thank you, Kanan.
Edwin, you showed some preview art for issue 2. I mean, this looks all right. This looks okay.
It's just okay. It's just all that it is. But,
Is this the elevator
this,
scene you were talking about?
Yeah.
This is all part of the
this is the
elevator
shot
scene that he
though.
was saying.
This isn't the shot though. This is the shot before the shot. Like,
this is crazy. You guys are so damn talented. It's almost obscene.
In fact, like almost any. Well, when I saw the script for it in page 1 that I got presented, the cool thing about working with Mr. Terrific is where you place his T spheres and things like that, because it kind of frames the panels on his own, really. And for each of the panels that they showed on the script, one of the things I definitely want to highlight was to jump down the elevator into the landing. And I was like, oh, I get to do the famous hero landing, but with Mr. Terrific. And then what will he do? He would jump, and since he's like a long way down, I wanted to show that just little small details, like he's holding on to one of his T spheres so he can like land down there safely. You know,
slows descent.
no, that's his light source. That's his power. You know, so I wanted to kind of like have like a cool like transition down to where like the T sphere saw the elevator shaft and now he's holding on to it. Yeah, but that's definitely one of my favorite pages that I've done in any book period so far.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's that oof. Man, that thing just goes hard.
The cinematic look. Al, you said you wrote this to be like a television series, and you have this cinematic look in the style here in the art. I'm looking at the angles. The fact that on the bottom panel, it's kind of slightly tilted, makes you feel a little unsteady, that he's unsteady on his feet because he just fell down the shaft. And then you've got the using of the T-spears to add depth, because you have the one that's closer and the other one that's further away. And you can allows you to see that sort of, it gives the perception of depth using that. It's just little things like that are just incredible. The lighting.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get that's what happens when they give you top-notch artists, like because none of that is in the script, brother. Like that ain't me.
Edwin knows what he's doing. Edwin just knows. Edwin is a storyteller, so he knows what he's doing, right? Like all these little things that you're bringing to light. I mean, it's done with intent. I mean, you know that Edwin is doing this with intent because he's a storyteller. And the fact that you were mentioning before that if you remove script from the page and you can still tell the story, he's doing his job. He's doing his job, and there's not a lot of appreciation for when an artist just knows what they're doing, right? So that you're able to identify it, it's just because Edwin's good at what he does, right?
Yeah,
Like they could definitely say the same about your work too.
exactly.
Your books is on my bookshelf too, so I get inspiration
We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna
everywhere.
we're gonna run through that in just a sec. Just issue 3. What can you tell the fans to expect in that they should be excited about?
Issue 3 is Michael finally putting on the mantle. Like in Valentine's portion of the story, like we finally get the jacket. Like he's out to do damage. But it does not go the way he plans it to be. It's a year 1 story, so he's got to take the lumps and learn things. But yeah, and then in the present day story, um I'll just say Mr. Terrific goes to an unexpected place.
Shout out to Carrie Randolph and Raza for these covers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crazy. You got nothing but top-notch talent on this book. From the interiors with these 2 artists, your writing, Al, the covers. This is a a top tier character. Look,
Yeah.
everybody's watching this. Please, I haven't said this before, and I should have said it earlier. Please, if you haven't already, add this to your pull list. Pre-order this book. Make it successful. Al's got a whole bunch of stories in his head that he still wants to do that he can't even get in this series. So if you want it to be successful, you want to do the rest of the series, pre-order the book.
Yeah. I
And
got
then
this idea that I want to do with Mr. Terrific that we couldn't it didn't work for this book, but like, oh God, if I get to tell that story. And that story there will be no question about where he stands, even like with the big 3. I would say like with that story, he's Kendrick coming through saying like, you know that line of like the big 3, it's big me,
Mhm.
right? If they let me do big me, shoot, forget about it.
Oh man. So the Mr. DC Comics himself, Batman, shows up in issue 4. Again, we can address
Yes.
who is really that dude. I think it's Mr. Terrific, but let's see what the story says. These covers are fantastic.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
sell
dope.
some books on these covers alone. This is crazy. And then
Something
finally,
about the leather jacket.
I love the
Yeah.
jacket, man. Look at the jacket.
There's something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That looks like the Virix jackets from back in the day. I might be
Yeah.
dating myself when I make that reference. Some of y'all may not get that.
That's what I use, bro.
Is it really?
What I was using when I built that one. So yeah, you're not wrong.
Mhm.
All right. Issue 5. Is this a black superhero team up?
Yes, sir.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up.
I had no idea that they even revealed that cover yet.
I know. I was surprised they revealed it too, because I'm like, dang, y'all like a trailer, like telling the whole story. Like, stop.
We're trying to get the pre-orders in. Y'all, you see what's coming. You see what's coming. If you want this to continue, pre-order this book. You got Black Lightning showing up at issue 5. You got Ken Lashley doing a cover over here to the. Come on, man. It doesn't get better than this in comics. It just doesn't. This is top tier.
I am so happy I got to draw the year 1 outfit.
Yeah.
I was just like,
That's
I
crazy.
wanted to draw the outfit, especially the spheres too. Like I'm a huge fan of the spheres. So whenever I saw the trailer for the Superman movie, I was like, does he have his spheres though? Like I
Yes.
need to see those. So.
Those spears that these design of these spears kind of remind me of the thermal detonators from Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think about it, but yeah, totally.
You got that either.
Yeah. All right.
I was just.
Let's talk about these artists. Valentine, you're kind of semi-famous.
Nah, I'm like garage
Being
band famous.
Being humble. Dude, you have a Black History coin in Canada.
That's correct. I did 3 coins, and this was one for Black History. I did a coin that features Oscar Peterson, the Black composer and jazz musician, and he's the first to get featured a coin here, so I was able to design that one. That was a big deal. And I did a World War II coin. So yeah.
Wow.
There's
I had to bring this up, Valentine.
amazing.
I can't have you on the show, and
Yes.
I've talked about you so many times behind your back. I feel like your ears should be burning. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. It was all love. We've had John Jennings on here a number of times. John Jennings, one of the Black Comic Lords. He's a member of the squad.
What's up, John?
And when he was doing this book, he showed us the his art. What was it? What the first thing I said? Why does he have the Jamaican flag on him? Is he Jamaican? John's like, no, I don't plan it. I didn't think about him being. I'm like, John, that is the Jamaican flag. Who's your artist? Valentine Landro. Who's Valentine Landro? He's like, yeah, I think he's Trinidadian. All right, you gonna tell me a Trini brother did this, made a Jamaican flag in the costume, and you did not recognize it? He's like, no, I didn't think about it. It's like, John, 12-year-old me is screaming at the possibility of a cosmic powered Jamaican superhero at Marvel Comics. You got to make this guy Jamaican. He's like, I think about it. John, it's opportunity.
West Indies represent, man. Bring big up the West Indies. Yeah.
Gotta represent. You gotta represent, because my family's Jamaican. My parents are from Jamaica.
There you go.
So I have to ask you, Valentine, is that what your intent was?
Yes. I mean, look, there was John had a original design for him. I think John was gonna probably try and handle the art chores for all this as well, but then Mark reached out. I built this just based off of the colors, and I'm like, this is the color. So I mean, let me see what I can do. But there was no. I think it all started to fall in line later, and I mean, there was enough room and runway to, give him some sort of West Indian background there too. So I mean, why not?
Valentine, do you understand how happy you made me with Ghostlight?
Well, it's all good.
The Black Panther is my number one superhero, my favorite superhero of all time. But if I'd been introduced to Ghostlight when I was 10, 12 years old, he would clearly be my favorite superhero of all time. It's not even a question.
There's a lot.
Someone who represents my heritage.
Shout out to the motherland. I mean, I appreciate that there's so many superheroes that come from so many countries in Africa. I mean, the West Indies is right there.
I'm going to forward you a little skit video that we did on Ghostlight. I'll forward it to you. It was funny, at least to me. When we're done with this,
guys,
yeah,
I gotta bounce, guys. I gotta get going.
Al, thank you very much. Al, Dr. Producer, we have a little tradition at Black Comic Lords. Al, before you go,
yes.
Whenever you interview with us, we consider you family, and we want you to look into the camera, say your name, and say, "I'm a Black Comic Lord."
I'm Al Letson, and I am a Black Comic Lord.
Hey.
Thank you. You have now been inducted into the secret society.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it.
We'll talk.
It was so good seeing all of you, or seeing all of us together, because we've never been on a Zoom together before. So all of us being together, and thank you to all the commenters. And please go buy the book and tell DC you want more. It'll be great. Because I'm telling you, MF, the big three, it's just big me. I want to do that story.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
I want to see it.
All right, fellas. I'll see y'all.
Be easy.
Thank you.
All right, let's finish up with you guys here. Dr. Wizard, can you bring the slide back up, please? All right. So shout out to you for co-creating this Ghostlight character. This artwork was crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
This panel right here. I mean, you talk about depth and action and fluidity and scope. It's just, then this scene where it's revealed he's Jamaican. This was everything for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is my family right here, man. Most recently, you did some work on the Sam Wilson Captain America.
Mhm.
Excellent, excellent, excellent moves, man.
I love the
Thank you.
outfit, the red star. Man, that's such a good outfit. Cool outfit.
That's a dope design.
That was shoot.
Was
Who
that
built that?
Tyron or was it?
Was it Torrin Clark?
It was. You're right. It was Taran. Yeah.
It was Torrin Clark came up with the design.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. That's my.
You are the king of the flashbacks.
Yeah, I guess.
No, seriously, like when people are doing your art style, something about the dreaminess of it, it just it's so well suited for these flashback scenes they have you doing. The emotions of it, you know,
I feel like
and it
I'm
seems to
putting
just slow down. What?
I feel like I'm just putting that
The
together
character.
right now. When you just said it, it's like, oh wait, I'm drawing a lot of flashbacks, aren't I?
You are. There's a tone in your art which you can draw some scenes that just seem to slow down and draws your attention in and seems meaningful. And that's what, when you're doing these flashbacks, oftentimes it's about emotions, right? And you are able to evoke emotions with your art. You see what I'm saying? Look at the scene where they're at the gravesite. It's simple, but it's very emotive.
It's always a lot of history with these characters too, and
Yeah.
I mean, you want them to have some gravity, right? You want them to at least connect to the reader, to the audience, in something that's familiar, something that's relatable. So you make an attempt to reach out with that and tell the story the best way you can.
Yeah. This is the book everyone knows you for.
I miss it. I'm hoping we get back to it. We have more story to tell. So
that was kind of my next question. Is this
yes,
ever
indeed.
going to come back?
We
You guys have talked about
left it on it. We left it on the, no, I'm just saying we left it on the hook, and we have more story to tell. So let me just say that.
Good. This is a panel that my producer pulled out. He really loves this page.
Well, thank you.
You summarized an entire experience in one page. From slavery to Jim Crow to the civil rights movement to Tulsa to George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. Oh, you got more than George Floyd. You got several people here.
Yeah, I tried to, it was hard. It was hard. I think just lost Philando around the time that this
Steel, yeah.
dropped, right? So, I mean, that one still unsettles me, if I can say something.
I've never been able to watch that video again because I'm like, that could have been any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done some great cover work too. Dark Blood.
It's a great
DC
series for
Power.
me.
That's how you know you're a dope artist, when you could just sit back and just do a bunch of covers. They just ask you to do a bunch of covers. Your Black Manta series, man. I loved the Black Manta series that you and Chuck Brown put together, man. He is my favorite villain.
Character. Yeah.
He is my favorite villain
Yeah.
from DC.
David's got some problems.
So what?
He's got some problems, man. He's not right in the head. I like just the absolutely off the rails. Just that Manta is always the one that I like because he's terrifying to me. So
and he's unpredictable. You literally don't know what he's going to do in any given situation.
Yeah, it's a fun character.
Yeah. Is there any possibility you guys have you talked about doing this again, Black Manta again, you and Chuck?
There hasn't been talk about it, but I mean,
You guys
Here.
defined him. You guys defined him better than any other series has ever done.
It it's again one of those things. The movie synergy and all that always helps, right? Like having the character showing up in other media, that always helps to.
It's
push
funny
it
you should
forward.
say that, because the movie version does not do service to the character in any way, shape, and form the way your comic book version does. Yeah, I mean, to compare the two is just like apples and oranges, honestly. Your guy is much more diabolical.
Right.
I love it. I love the series. The art was absolutely fantastic, man. All right, Mr. Galmon,
All right.
you're doing a couple things.
Just a little
You're doing
bit.
a couple things. You're at that point now where you're just doing covers again. Although I'm happy to finally see you do some interior work again on this series. I'm glad you decided to lend your talents to some interior work for a book this important, in my opinion.
I got to draw some Batman characters.
You did. But you also got to draw some characters from my favorite universe, Milestone.
Yeah,
Tech
those are my first covers I've done. The Milestone covers, yeah.
I told you I've been a fan from day one, Edwin. Thought I was joking.
Tech 9 is. I kind of want to revisit Tech 9.
Everybody wants to revisit Tech 9, man.
I want to revisit them. Yeah.
Jeffrey Thorne, I was so happy. I thanked him profusely for bringing the character back. He was my favorite Blood Syndicate character. When he died, I was pissed, like royally pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like how you said Black Manta was. He's just terrifying to me. Like he's terrifying to me, because he can't just let it loose if he wants to. So I kind of want to revisit that character just to kind of show a little bit more of that in the art. Yeah.
Your Hardware season 1 cover was crazy.
That was my very first cover.
This is your first cover of all time?
Yeah.
I did not know
my
that.
very first DC cover. Yeah. The Hardware.
Wow.
I want to revisit him too, because his outfit is so interesting. I kind of want to go back into that.
What, the Hardware one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go to the Milestone
Dennis
Initiative?
Conway.
Were you a member of the Milestone Initiative?
I wasn't. Which is because I worked alongside of them, but I wasn't part of the initiative. No. Marquise is the one who picked me up for it.
That's crazy. I mean, you got all this Milestone work. You weren't even part of the initiative. That's how dope an artist you were.
Yeah, I really want to revisit the Milestone again, especially Icon. I really want to draw Icon. That's one of the ones I really want to do.
How did you end up working with Greg Burnham on the Little Rock Files?
Oh, he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm doing he's doing the Little Rock Files, and he wanted to see if I could do just an ink cover." And I love like noir style things, and I love inking. Inking is like my favorite thing to do. So he hit me up, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Then I like bearded characters, which is why I really love the way Val draws Mr.
Yes,
Terrific, Mike, and I was asking Marquise if I could put the beard on him. But yeah, I kind of hope I want him to keep it, but I know that the iconic look of Michael Holt is the beardless one.
Say that for a second print.
Yeah.
Helverine.
He needs a longer series. Can like
Anansi was cool too.
Did my boy T'Challa.
T'Challa and I think who was that? Sway? It's always either Sway or Torin that like designed those outfits for the Marvel characters.
Oh, for this Black Panther?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's either Tarn.
this one was actually designed by Chris Allen.
Chris
that was
Allen.
during
Okay.
the Eve viewing run. Chris Allen designed that.
Oh, I think he just did the main covers for that series. Then probably.
He even did Stitch.
Yes, Stitch is on one of those characters that I've been doing a long time now. He's part of my first jobs journey. That's Stitch number 1. There's kind of like his second book now, because I did a lot of the covers for the first series. This is his second series now, including I wrote a story for him. So that comes out in about 4 days for like the sits thing. So I was able to do a little bit of writing credits there. So that was nice.
Hey, congrats, man.
Dr. Wizard, do we have just a couple questions they can answer before we go? Will Holtz link up with other Black geniuses like John Henry Irons?
Ooh, that's a question.
That's a spoilery question.
Yeah.
If it's too spoilery, you can always answer by saying maybe.
It's too spoilery, but I'll always remember that we're telling a year 1 story. So I mean, some of these characters may or may not overlap in the continuity we have going on. But
will we see new villains for him?
Yeah, with Athena already sort of establishing herself as a new corporate villain, and we got Cormorant running around. He's not a new villain, but I mean, doesn't get a lot of play too often. So yeah, he's been fun.
Jay says, shout out to everyone and Al. Duval, thanks for signing my copy of issue number 1 at GCO. I guess, is Al from Jacksonville? That's weird. Shout out to Duval. What else we got, Dr. Wizard? Do Valentine and Edwin plan to make any art books in the near future? That's a good question.
That is a great question.
I'll put my pre-orders in for those right now.
I thought about, I'm in the middle of writing my own story and book, so I want to do like a little art book of that. But in terms of art I've already done, maybe I thought about it, but I kind of want to add a little bit more to it.
Wait, pause. You don't just drop a little nugget like, yeah, I'm working on a little book of my own I'm writing right now, and not give us any details. What is this book you're working on? What's the genre? Start with the genre. What's the genre of the book?
I want to make it a little bit more of a high, like a high fantasy medieval thing, and like a fictional African nation, because there's not too many like stories that takes place like in medieval Africa, like in that type of story. But it's a very fictional nation that's kind of modeled after kind of like an African nation, and it's in medieval times, and it's going to be like a very like fantasy thing. So like black elves, and the main character, their tribe is modeled after the bongo antelope, and I wanted to make it like kind of an epic style story too. So I just wanted to focus on like a story that takes place in that time period, because I don't really see too much of it, and I wanted that type of look.
Are you gonna write it and draw it?
Yes.
Wow. What's the time frame on this? When's it going to Kickstarter? When can I donate my money towards it?
I was about to say, where's my wallet? Let me just give you.
I'm hoping Amex, to have
Visa. What do you want? I got. You give me that number.
I'll take it off. I'm hoping to have at least the kind of like a first issue proof of concept, like Kickstarter thing, around like the end of the year.
Okay.
That is my goal. So far, the character designs concepts, they're done. So now I just gotta, put my ducks in a row, make sure that everything's good on that end. But yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's saying
like full story venture out there. Yeah.
I think everyone in the chat has basically said, yeah, we're down for it. So let us know when you're ready to promote it. Hit us up. bring you back on, and let's get that thing done. Valentine, what you got going on in the works, man? What you got cooking? Anything you can talk about?
No. I mean, it's all Mr. Terrific, right? So we're just going to wrap up this series.
You focus on wrapping up Mr. Terrific. Okay.
Yeah, and also I'm part of a group, Good Comics, and put out historical nonfiction books, books that they go into the classroom, and also as a offshoot of that, there is a Kickstarter going on for a book called Islands in the Sky. It's a benefit book to the proceeds are going to survivors of Hurricane Helene in the Appalachia region. So if anybody wants to check that out, the Kickstarter there, just look up Islands in the Sky. And yeah, there's a good set of people who are donating to an anthology book that's going to be put out. And all the people, the creators on that book are going to be either survivors or connected to survivors of Hurricane Helene as well. So it's been a worthwhile and hopefully something that helps some of these people who are still trying to get up back on their feet, gives them a bit of a boost. So
that sounds like a worthy endeavor, man. We should look on that.
Yes.
Just a couple more questions before we go. Which actors and actresses do you plan to have in mind to play Michael and Paula Holt? That's a more generalized question. When you guys draw your characters, are you thinking of specific people as sort of your inspiration?
I got one guy in mind that I always had in my mind when I drew Mr. Terrific. Have you guys ever watched that? It's I think it's a remake of a series called Cross.
Aldous.
Yeah, it has Aldous Hodge. The guy who played his best friend, I think his name is Isaiah Mustafa.
Okay, yeah.
The Old Spice guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, when I watched that Cross show, and he played Aldous Hodge's best friend, I was like, I see him as Mr. Terrific. Like he has that type of like cadence or presence, like, and so I guess in the back of my mind I always had him with like the T on his face, but yeah, I don't think I really have someone like specific, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be him.
What about you, Valentine? Do you have anyone in mind that you use as inspiration when you're drawing these characters?
I mean, I was trying to. Eddie's features are so distinct, so I didn't know if it would be if I'd be allowed to him as a model, even though he's playing him in the movie, right? So I sort of tried to lean on some of his features, but at the same time, just worked my own model from things that got like the Strange Adventure story and all that.
Yeah,
I think I was leaning on the design from there as well. But I generally do try and find some sort of actor or somebody out there that I can model features off of, especially for I don't want to say this, but just for Black actors. I mean, I like being able to explore our features and put them on page and make everybody look distinct, right? Yeah, that's a lot of fun for me.
All right, last question here. John Fortune asks, will this be part of the Power Company? Well, this is a year one story, so I don't see that, but what do you guys say?
That's above our pay grade.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anything is possible. I mean, yeah.
All right. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. As we did with Al, as I said, we have this tradition of Black Comic Lords that when you interview with us, you become family. So let's start with Valentine, Dr. Wizard. Just look into the camera, say your name, and say, I am a Black Comic Lord.
Hi, my name is Valentine Landro, and I am a Black Comic Lord.
That's what's up. And Edwin?
My name is Edwin Galmon, and I am a Black Comic Lord.
All right. Welcome to the squad. We will send you the invoice for your monthly dues at a later time. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. A true
Al's address.
We'll send it to Al's address. It was a genuine pleasure and an honor to have you guys on the show. I'm not. It's not lip service. You can look at our prior videos. I'm fans of both of you guys. I think you're tremendously talented, and to have you all on this singular book with such a great character, I think is something special. And I'm really looking forward to see what you guys cook up for us. Everyone, hit your stores up if you haven't pre-ordered it already. Mr. Terrific Year 1 issue number 2 drops this Wednesday. As you go to the stores on Wednesday to pick it up, I want you to please tell that LCS, that local comic shop, that you want to add it to your pull list, do a subscription, add it to your pre-orders so that we can get 3, 4, and 5 to do really well. And hopefully DC will see those numbers and bring these brothers back to do a continuing another series, another volume of this character. So until next time, brothers, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for having us on, and appreciate your community and everything that you do. So I just want to put a shout out to everybody in that the Black Comics Lords community, man. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all. Everyone, like this video, share it on your socials, and give a shout out to the Black Comic Lords when you get a chance. Appreciate each and every one of you. Black Comic Lords, we got you.